It's a pesto party in the Happy Diabetic Kitchen. This is the Happy Diabetic Kitchen, the podcast about people who love to eat and cook healthy. This is your guide to the world of healthy cooking and conversations about happy diabetic living and lifestyles, where we simply turn ordinary ingredients into something extraordinary. Welcome to the kitchen, and let's get cooking. Hello everyone, I am Chef Robert Lewis, the Happy Diabetic, along with my son Jason, and this is the internet's most delicious cooking podcast. So welcome to the Happy Diabetic Kitchen. We're getting ready to explore a healthy diabetic lifestyle. I want to take the mystery out of healthy cooking, explore some amazing foods, and my diabetic journey with successes and my challenges. So, if you're new to the show, I'm happy you're here. Welcome to the kitchen. Hey, Jace, how are you?
Hey, I'm pretty good. How's it going?
Really great, thanks. 2 words this week, fantasy football. How'd you do?
I did terrible.
I did doubly terrible. Matter of fact, I think I made the right decision. I benched my star quarterback, Aaron Rodgers, for Cam Newton, who was supposed to have a better game than Aaron Rodgers, and actually he didn't do very well.
Yeah, you just never know.
I know. This week is the same scenario. Cam Newton's got way more points projected than Aaron Rodgers. What would you do? Of course, that's not a fair question for those that are listening because Jason and I are in a league, a family league. So we eventually do play each other.
I mean, one thing they say is always play your studs. So, you could just roll with Aaron Rodgers and stick with him and see what happens.
Yeah.
I can do you one worse. I had Baker Mayfield last week.
Ouch. Wow. Well, so for those that don't know who that is, tell us the quick skinny.
Well, he's the Browns' young quarterback he's really good, but he just happened to throw 3 interceptions and yeah.
Ouch. Wow. So well, better luck next week, right?
Yep.
So in this week's podcast, Today in the Kitchen, we are going to be talking about pesto. So Jason and I are going to take the mystery out of pesto for you. I've got an amazing, super simple, easy tomato and chicken pesto bake. And of course, we have so much more. Are you ready? I'm ready. You all ready out there? Both hands on the steering wheel. Let's get cooking. Welcome back. So now it's time for this segment that I'm calling Taking the Mystery Out of Pesto. So one of the most amazing things about pesto is basil. And for those that know me, I've been growing basil out my backyard on my patio for many, many years. It's the easiest herb to grow because mostly it's a weed. I mean, think about it this way. How many out there listening right now are certified master gardeners of the world? Yep, I'm not seeing many hands being raised. Now, let me ask you this question. How many of you out there are really good at growing weeds? Yep, a lot of hands going up. I can tell. I can feel it. Well, the cool thing about herbs like basil and oregano and rosemary, they're basically weeds. Put them in some dirt, put the plants in some dirt, a little bit of water. They grow. You can hardly kill them. So one of the greatest things about pesto, and on my website, happydiabetic.com, on the blog area of that site, I'm going to post some pictures of my crop and pictures of pesto and how to make pesto and my amazing Besto pesto recipe. So, for those that don't know or who've never experienced the love of pesto, what is pesto? That's the question you're asking. Here's the answer I'm giving you. It really literally is a sauce of crushed basil leaves, pine nuts, garlic, Parmesan cheese, olive oil, typically served with pasta, brushed on chicken, salmon, fish. It is the most universal spread ever. It's amazing. Now, I want to take some of the mystery out of pine nuts. So very quickly. People always ask, and quite often we see recipes with pesto with whole pine nuts in it. Now, me personally, I don't think that's a good idea. Pine nuts are put in pesto for a really good reason. So when you grind pine nuts into the basil mixture, it makes the pesto have a rich and creamy texture. The oil from the nuts, just cream it up, give it a nice, light, nutty flavor. But imagine this. Pine nuts that are whole or in chunks, they don't add enough flavor or consistency. And contrary to belief, and many chefs and many people who love pasta and who love pesto, they want to leave it whole. I think it's a gimmick. Don't you fall for the gimmick. Also, eating one of those pine nuts sitting in a hole in the pesto, it just seems like eating a giant greasy ball of something. It just doesn't work. You have to grind it up fine. It'll make it creamy and delicious. To me, a little grease ball is not pesto. So another thought about pesto is it's never cooked. It's always blended raw, because as soon as you cook something like a pesto on the stovetop, the basil can turn dark in color and can get really bitter. So ideally, if you want to cook with it, take it out of the refrigerator, let it get room temperature, add it into your pasta, stir it in the last minute. If it's too thick, you can add a little water, you can add a little chicken stock, you can add a little white wine, and then just toss it lightly in your cooked pasta. But what I tell everybody is, remember, you can always add more, but you can never take out, right? So a little bit, taste it, little bit, taste it, adjust the seasonings, and then add more if you need it. So, again, pesto is super easy. Head over to my website. The recipe and the procedures will be there. But let me just get you going on just how easy this is. So it's very basic. I'm going to take 2 cups of fresh basil leaves, well packed. And I'm going to try to take them out of the stems as best I can. 2 cloves of garlic, lightly crushed and peeled. About a half a cup of pine nuts, or you can use walnuts if you like, or even more amazing, use a combination of both. And you can even use some cashews if you like. It's really a family fun event, this pesto making. Then 3/4 cup of freshly grated Parmesan Reggiano cheese or Parmesan cheese. And then 1/4 cup to about a half a cup of extra virgin olive oil. Now, we did an olive oil tasting in one of our episodes early on, but this is the time to go buy the most expensive olive oil you can afford. Excellent, amazing quality will make this pesto dish just pop. A little salt, a little freshly ground pepper to taste, and that is about it. So let's put it together. You're going to take the basil leaves and garlic in a food processor or a blender. Process them until the leaves are very finely chopped. Then we're going to add the nuts. Process the nuts till they're finely chopped. Now, there's a whole controversy on pesto whether to add cheese or not add cheese. So here's what I do. I leave the cheese out because what I would like to do, for example, you'll see a picture of my basil plant. I got a lot of it. So I'm going to make maybe 4 cups of pesto. So what I'll do is I'll take the pesto, put it in ice cube trays, and freeze them in blocks. Then when they get frozen, I'm going to take them out of the trays and put them in baggies. So now all I have to do is pull out a couple ice cube pestos, as they would be, let them thaw out, and I'm good to go. The reason I leave cheese out of it, because cheese doesn't freeze really good in that environment. So if I want to add cheese, I'll add a little bit of it left in right before I use it. But if you're making a small quantity, like this quantity, which doesn't make a lot, 2 cups worth of basil, go ahead and add the cheese. So add the cheese and process it until it's combined. So with the machine running now, either your Vitamix or your blender or your Cuisinart, add the olive oil a little at a time in a slow, steady stream. After the oil is incorporated, turn off the machine, scrape the sides, add a little salt, a little pepper, stir it up, make sure the taste is exactly where you want to be. So if you're not immediately using it, store it in an airtight container with a thin coating of olive oil on top. And that'll keep the sauce from turning dark in your refrigerator. It'll keep great for up to a week or more in your refrigerator, depending on how cold it is. should be at least 38 to 40 degrees. And this recipe yields about 3.5 to 4 cups. And you can also have it in half if you need to. I love pesto on grilled chicken, poached chicken, lots of varieties of fish, salmon, either alone, or I can even add it to mayonnaise and put it on sandwiches or a really interesting sauce for vegetables. The possibility for using pesto is endless. My only problem seems to be I never make enough. So what I'd like you to do, make this recipe, post it on our website, go over to our Facebook page, all the links are at the top of the website, and post a picture on the Facebook page. And we would love to see what you're doing, how you made it, and what your challenges are. So, Jason, when I'm out and about, I get some of the most interesting questions asked ever. And some are really awesome, and some are just kind of weird. So I'm just going to call this segment of the podcast Weird Cooking Facts. So, Jason, today's weird cooking fact comes from a question that I got a couple weeks ago. It was all about coconut water. Have you ever had coconut water?
Coconut water? I've had coconut milk.
Okay, well, same thing. I mean, it really is. They call it coconut milk, but I mean, I think of it as coconut water because it's the liquid that's in the coconut, right? Same kind of thing, right?
Gotcha.
A lot of vitamins. Supposed to be really good for you. People just can't seem to get enough of it. For me, it's not my thing, although I love coconut. Do you like coconut?
I love coconut.
I mean, I grew up eating coconuts. We'd get them in the supermarket and bang them with a hammer and peel them and drink the coconut juice or milk. We called it milk. I like it. It's really great. But did you know that coconut water, in an emergency, can be used as blood plasma?
How?
I have no idea. I'm not a doctor. All I know is because of the chemical makeup, it can replicate plasma in an emergency.
Interesting. Whoever figured that out, that was an interesting experiment.
What do you like? Climb up the tree, get the coconut, bring it down, and then have to crack it open? I hope you can survive long enough. I don't know. Or run to the 7-Eleven and get a 6-pack of coconut water. All right, that's our weird cooking fact of the week. Coconut water can be used as blood plasma.
Hey everybody, this is Jason. We'd like to hear about how diabetes has affected your life in a positive way. Go to our website and on the homepage, click on the link Because of My Diabetes Story. Send us an audio message and we could feature it in the podcast.
Okay, I have a great recipe, and it's only got 4 ingredients, and I have enough here for 4 servings. It's my pesto chicken bake of love. Here it is. It's simply 4 chicken breasts, lightly salted and peppered to taste. 4 tablespoons of my pesto. I'm so excited. I got all choked up. It's 4 tablespoons of my pesto recipe. 1 Roma tomato sliced and 1 cup of low-fat mozzarella cheese. Are you ready? Here's how it goes. You turn your oven on at 350 degrees. Place the chicken breast in a baking dish. You can lightly spray it if you want with some food release or some canola oil or some olive oil, just a little on the bottom. Don't need much. Season the chicken with salt and pepper. Spread about a tablespoon of pesto on each chicken breast. Don't be bashful with it. Then layer 2 or 3 or 4 of the slices of Roma tomato on top of the chicken and bake. So it's going to bake for 40 minutes at about 365 degrees, 350, just depending upon your oven. Then when the chicken is done, you've got 10 minutes left to go. Sprinkle a little mozzarella on top. Let it get all melty and golden and oozy and delicious. Now, I know you have a thermometer, so when the chicken reaches 165 degrees, take it out of the oven, let it rest for a few minutes. Maybe you've got some nice Brussels sprouts, some grilled asparagus, some lightly steamed broccoli with feta and lemon juice. Amazing. So that's it. Simple and easy. My pesto chicken bake of love. Post it up on the website. Post it up on my Facebook page. I want to see how good you are as a cook. Simple and easy pesto chicken bake. It's time for the kitchen tip of the podcast. So this is my kitchen tip number 91. Do you ever chase your cutting board all over your countertop because when you're cutting it slips and slides? Here's what you do. Take a dish towel or a damp paper towel, wet it, put it under your cutting board, put your cutting board on top of it, and that will keep it from slipping and wobbling. Simple and easy. Tip number 91. Good luck in the kitchen. If you're loving what you hear in the kitchen, please leave a comment or some feedback at Stitcher, Google Play, or iTunes, or wherever you're listening to this broadcast. Your thoughts and comments are greatly appreciated. Thank you very much in advance. Our podcast is produced and engineered by Jason Lewis. Our theme music by the Happy Diabetic Kitchen Band, with yours truly on the guitar, and of course, our kitchen mascots, Scout and Tucker, who have been trying to get on the microphone all afternoon. And if you don't believe me, go over to my Instagram page. I'll post some pictures there. Well, thanks for tuning in, and let me leave you with this thought. James Patterson of the Angel Experiment once said, "Some people just don't have what it takes to appreciate a good cookie." Well, so long for now, and remember, no one loves you more than me.